Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this webinar on unlocking global finance opportunities, the impact of the CFA program. Thank you very much for joining. I am Hari Vishwanath, editor at the Research Bureau of Business Line. The world of finance, investing, and portfolio management mesmerizes many at different stages in their lives and attracts them to this exciting field. From outside, it all looks like magical. Many hedge funds managing over $100 billion in assets under management, deploying various sophisticated strategies, investment bankers structuring cross continental complicated deals, or risk managers ensuring there are no blow ups. These and more, the field is vast and looks magical. However, as you start reading and learning about all these, you realize these are entirely built you realize these are entirely built on logic and there is zero magic. Good investments and good decisions result in good profits. Simple, right? How do you learn to do this? Clarity on this was given around 250 years back, not by an expert in finance, but by a scientist and a prominent political figure of those times, Benjamin Franklin. His point: an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. Today in our panel, we have three amazing examples of people who have reaped substantial returns by investing in knowledge, including successfully completing the CFA program. So let us learn from them on insights and perspectives they have to share for numerous financial aspirants who have joined us today. So first we have Manish Gavlani. Manish is the head of signature advisory at Emirates NBD, Dubai's biggest bank. Welcome, Manish.
Thank you so much.
Next, we have Vandana Somani. Vandana currently leads India operations at Neuberger Berman, where she has played a pivotal role in establishing and expanding the firm's offshore presence in India. Neuberger Berman is one of the world's largest asset managers with assets under management of around $500 billion. Prior to this, Vandana has worked at JP Morgan in the US. Next, so welcome, Vandana. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Hari.
Next, we have Shwetab Samir. Shwetab works with Molten Ventures, a Series A venture capital firm investing in high-growth technology companies across Europe. His focus spans early-stage investments and portfolio management, particularly in AI and deep tech sectors. I'd like to welcome all of them once again. Shwetab, Vandana, Manish, it's a pleasure to have you in this webinar.
Thank you, Hari.
Thanks.
So we have lots of excited financial aspirants at the other end, and there are school students right up to people in their mid-career looking to shift to finance. School students want to know how they can start their financial career early. People at mid-level, engineering students, software engineers, mechanical engineers, working at different roles in manufacturing and software, all wanting to make a shift to the exciting field of finance. So first I thought I could start with a question that I can pose to all three of you, and all three of you can give your perspectives. So CFA can be an excellent path to move up in the financial world, actually. So all three of you have successfully completed the program. So could you explain what are the primary advantages of pursuing the CFA program? And also, can you share how it helped you in your career progression? I thought I can start with Manish first, then we'll move on to Vandana and Shweta.
So, when you look at the corporate roles, or when you look at, senior management or HR heads who do interview people, all right, they don't get much time to evaluate you over an interview. Your interview will be half an hour, 1 hour, and it is very difficult to actually understand the person's mindset. All right, not just the way he talks, because everyone talks really well on an interview session. But when a person is a CFA, you get to understand, the interviewer gets to understand that this guy has a mindset to go through the struggle or go through the challenges that CFA curriculum poses. He has the ability to focus on material. He has the ability to get things done. Just by having the CFA curriculum, done, just by becoming a CFA charter holder, you land up standing out compared to your competition. So that is the main benefit that comes with you becoming a CFA charter holder. The perception about you changes. And as far as the contribution is made to my life was I used to be a wealth advisor, and after becoming a CFA charter holder, many team lead opportunities, segment head opportunities opened up for me, product lead opportunities opened up for me. And I don't think many of those opportunities would have been possible if I didn't have the uh, CFA charter holder backing me up, besides my performance as a wealth advisor alone, which was purely sales. So that's a little bit of what
Okay, so at which stage in your career did you do your CFA?
I did it very late. Yeah, I did it when I was 40.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're at
And
that
people
time.
and Harry, people in my batch were 19 and 20-year-olds also. So I was the oldest in
Wow.
the batch.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So the age. So the first takeaway we can have right now is age is no bar.
No, absolutely not. 40 is young, yeah.
Okay. So
40 is
prior
a
to
new
this,
20.
new 20, great.
Yeah.
So, so I think if it is 40 for this generation, next generation, we can stretch it up even more also. So there is
It's
no
good.
limits.
It's a good investment at any age, I would say. Yeah.
Good. So, so can you tell me any unique like that jump starting that shift that happened to you? Something that was there an inflection point after CFA?
I'll tell you the biggest shift that happened for me was that when I would attend CFA classes, the batch that I was with, this was a very smart set of students over there. Some of them are in hedge funds, some of them are analysts, and they were sharp, and their questions or their interactions with the faculty members really kept me kept challenging me to just
Okay,
go beyond rote material or mugging stuff or just understanding it just peripherally. It
okay,
really gave me a gold standard for being a damn good finance professional because that's a competition I'm going to face if I go out in the corporate world. So if you ask me about that was the best experience that I was left with when I did CFA. The people in it were phenomenally smart.
nice.
So kept me
So
on my
one
toes all
is
the time.
one
Yeah.
is the ecosystem that you become part of,
Yes.
and
Yes.
the other thing I can take from your experiences, understanding and not just qualifying, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because if you just qualified and you didn't understand, your knowledge is hollow. You will the interviewer will figure out that
Okay, great.
there's no substance. Yeah.
Thanks for that perspective, Manish. Vandana, your experience, how it helped you?
So I would say the primary advantages were flexibility, right? Flexibility. You can do it from anywhere. You can be in any location. You would be able to give it. And the second thing is the global recognition, right? The global recognitions from the employers. They know the CFA program. They know what kind of rigor it has. So those two are the biggest advantages. They do say that CFA is the gold standard in financial industry. So I think those would be my 2 points: the flexibility to do it anywhere, anytime in your life, and the global recognition.
So okay, so you can work and do it, uh, like whereas
You don't need to
generally,
leave your job, right? You can do it
so
alongside your job. You can do it alongside your studies. So it can be done.
just a follow-up question I have: were you working when you were doing it, or
Yes,
was it?
yes.
Were you able to? How do you manage the time? Because uh, I have a colleague who's not doing it. I've been in different companies, and everywhere I've met one or two guys who have one level in CFA pending, and they say that
Mhm.
they want to carve out the time to study. Can you say how to manage? I mean, do you have like along with work
So,
and
So, quite frankly, I would say I did my level 3 when I was on my maternity, right, with a small child as well. So, you need to take time out. I remember, for all 3 levels, I had put in 6 months of prep time. The weekends are gone, your social life is gone, but you need to put in that
okay,
effort because that is required.
okay,
So, from that perspective, however, when you look back all that time, it does have a reward in the long run. So I do think you need to take out time, find the time after work, on weekends. You do need to give up a few things, but then just for a few years. That's what.
so
Um,
discipline is very important.
yes,
But hard
discipline,
work.
perseverance, all of these dedication, all of these are very important. You do need to be very focused. between
Got it.
those, 6, 7 months when you're preparing for it.
And you joined JP Morgan after your CFA, is it, or before the CFA?
So I joined it when I completed, my level two. So that's what, it helped me get into the door.
Okay.
It was my biggest breakthrough that I was able to, get into JP Morgan US with that. So yes.
Okay. Nice. Shweta, your journey?
Well, pretty much aligned with what Vandana and Manish said. I think when it comes to CFA as a certification, I think it is something which is globally recognized, right? I think when I was working with Morningstar, our international clients were coming from the US, Europe, or Asia Pacific, and they were always had more confidence when you would have that CFA in front, yeah, in front of your name. That yeah, they probably have more confidence in the kind of investment strategies that we were building, and not only it helps you to develop those kind of investment strategies, but it was also very much helpful for you to make that career progression because you will be more in front of those clients when you have CFA. So that was one thing. And the other bit is probably more about making that kind of transition in your own career. I was coming from a mechanical engineering background. I was learning about the basics of finance, but when you look at all the other people in your team, they have that kind of financial understanding already, maybe if they are seniors or not. The point is that CFA has this structured curriculum that helps you just in within 1 or 2 years, you can understand so many things so quickly and you can apply that directly in your own, yeah, in your own role. I think
Okay.
that helps you a lot. And maybe the last bit, which I would probably talk about, which I have realized later in my career, is that it helps you kind of make you become more like an investor, think like an investor all the time. And the reason why I'm saying is this because earlier I was coming more from a traditional asset management background, investing in public markets. When I transitioned to venture capital, I could actually apply the same principles of asset management because CFA was very vast in terms of, I would say, broad and vast because it was covering all these different asset classes. So it was very useful for you to apply that in different roles across finance. And maybe the last bit is more about you can apply the same thing in personal finance. You probably don't think much about it that, yeah, I need to think about my retirement. I need to think about the next thing, be it buying a house or things like that. You become more like your own personal investment advisor, which is pretty useful from that perspective.
Got it. Got it. So, a couple of things that have learned from your experiences. One is you're saying non-finance background is no bar, right? Because we've had many
Yeah.
questions from people who are saying I'm a mechanical engineer. So you're saying the curriculum helps you cope well with that, correct?
Exactly. And
Okay.
you can do that something, as Vandana mentioned, right? As in, you have your own job and you can study for CFA whenever you find free time, be it in the evenings or the weekends. You can find your own free time. It doesn't impact your career because you're not taking a break
Okay.
to do your master's or bachelor's, right? So you can
Okay.
apply that throughout your career whenever you want to.
Great. That's a very interesting perspective. Thanks. So the next question I have this also to all of you because it's a common question that comes up. Uh, at the end of the day, uh, see, yes, knowledge has its value, but ultimately it has to be reflected somewhere in career growth at some point in time. It need not be immediate. It need not be immediate promotions or monetary gains or a job of your choice. But eventually, it will get you that. If you learn, like Vandana says, persevere, you will get there. So let's say if somebody is ready to persevere, they want to go for it. What are the opportunities emerging in financial landscape across the regions where you come from? Like Vandana has experience in US, Shweta, you in Europe, Manish in Middle East. Each of you, can you explain? And all of you, the best thing about today's panelists is all of you have different roles. So there is a lot of information that we can gather from each of your experience. So here also I'll start with Manish first. Can you explain in your roles and ancillary areas what how a CFA, what kind of opportunities a CFA can target and how they can go about it?
See, the whole, if you were to look at the size of the asset pool around the world invested across, or is $900 trillion. So
Yeah.
whether you look at real estate, you look at credit card, you look at mortgages, you look at loans, everything is financialized. Everything is being packaged and being made available to retail and institutional investors in small tickets or large tickets across the world. Not only everything is getting financialized, everything is getting accessible at a click of a button. So if you ask me what is the scope of finance, it is unlimited. It's like a blue ocean. It
Okay.
just comes down to when you do land up doing CFA, there are so many elements of finance that will be covered in that curriculum. Over a period of time, you will develop an interest, whether in equities, whether in bonds, whether in asset management, whether in venture capital, alternate assets. So it's a blue ocean with unlimited opportunities. You will figure out what appeals to you. Like for me, wealth management appeals to me a lot.
Okay.
Managing investments for rich clients appeals to me a lot. Interaction with these clients has been phenomenal. So many of these clients have become friends of mine. And it's been a really amazing journey for last 20 years, managing money for high net worth individuals. And I might be doing it for the rest of my life. And along
Okay.
the process, I also learned how to manage my own money,
Interesting.
and today I get an opportunity to talk to people for this. So it's been a beautiful journey. But if you ask me, opportunities, it's phenomenal. And now, if you look at crypto market, which is also alternate assets, that is also going to attract trillions of dollars, already
Yeah.
2 trillion plus. So, and that's going to get financialized. There will be
And
collateralized,
there
financialized.
are leveraged ETFs on crypto actually. So like
Yeah.
the 2 trillion, you want to lever it up and invest
So
even.
leverage investment is still a risky part.
Uh,
I'm saying tomorrow when crypto assets get collateralized, you technically could take a loan against your crypto asset like you take a loan against your home.
okay. Okay.
Okay. Now, if you go to any of the crypto websites, okay, like I was going through this Chainlink website, you can't understand the English. It's in English, but you can't understand because it's all coding language. This is a whole new world that's opening up. So
Okay.
I'm very excited. And many of them people say, oh, AI is going to take away jobs. Financial world is too complicated, too overwhelming for AI to take over our job. So anyone with the skill sets of CFA, curiosity to learn finance, it's a blue ocean to tap into, is what I would say.
Got it. Got it. So Vandana, your take on this?
I would, echo the same sentiment. Quite frankly, the opportunities are phenomenal from portfolio management, risk management, asset management, compliance, corporate governance. The opportunities are phenomenal. It really depends upon what is your interest. And if you are early in your career, try to move around and rotate to find what your interest is. So the thing is, however, the opportunities are endless. And more or less depends upon where your area of interest is. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. Shweta?
Very much agree with all the points. I think I can probably talk more about maybe Europe and maybe London specifically where I'm based. I think there was this saying 2 or 3 years ago that everything will be financialized, like what Manish is mentioning, right? And everything will be financialized as something like if you have an e-commerce startup, you know how to build anything, right? You could probably be building pillows and you would probably want to sell that. So you need to build that financial component. So the point is that everything at the end of the day, it can be financialized. That was the saying 2 years ago, which is very much true today. And now people say everything will be AI driven. There will be this AI driven component that could be applied in any aspect of different jobs across the world. So I think one thing I can probably see is that there is a growing demand of those kind of people who have this, who can navigate at the intersection of finance and technology at the end of the day. If they can understand both finance and technology, there will be a significant opportunity for you to grow. And here in Europe, there are a couple of different roles that are coming up very much is things like sustainable finance, things like payments, digital banking, or as in now it's becoming more AI driven thing, as in how you can apply AI with payments, AI with digital banking, how you can apply that in sustainable investing. I think that is becoming more common across the value chain. So I would probably say that the most successful people who could be will be those people who can have, say, CFA as a good background, but then they will have to start adding additional skill set for whatever roles you are, be it in sales or be it in technology, any kind of role. It's like you can probably supplement CFA with those skill set and apply that, and you can start transitioning to any career that you want because you have the
Okay.
basic understanding already. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Okay. All right. So, since you are in private equity, I just had a follow-up question. Uh, you invest in startups, and let's say even a person who doesn't want to be in the finance field but wants to run a startup. Okay, would CFA qualification? Do you see that when an entrepreneur is qualified as a CFA? Do you think that's an added plus when you're looking at investments, or the team, the startup team as a CFA? Do these things matter per se?
I think there are two different ways to look at it. If that person is building something in the field of wealth management, it's very much useful if you have a CFA certification, right? That's very much useful because wealth management is directly related to how will you manage portfolio across different asset classes, and then you're adding technology to it to make it something exciting. But the other way to look at this is that you would have an understanding of the different concepts of finance, as in how do you build a financial model? It should be more very much logical, right? I think we have seen startups where they will say they are going to um, grow 300% year over year, but their cost base doesn't change. So when you look at that, it makes you think like, wait, so you will only have 5 employees throughout the next 5 years? That doesn't make sense, right? So you kind of start understanding the basic concepts when you go to the CFA curriculum, and you can apply that in your financial modeling or even the most important metrics that you will evaluate. And in the case of private equity venture capital, is that in the early stage, people think more about revenue. Later on, it's more about EBITDA, and when you become public, it's more about earnings, earnings seal, things like that. So you probably will understand these things more. And based on your different stage, you can start thinking more about these are the metrics I should probably focus on. That said, I would say I would be very much surprised if the founder is CFA because they don't get much time, right? They are working probably 7 days a week. So I would be
Okay.
very much surprised they are getting time to do CFA. But if they do, it means they
All right.
have great time management skills, I would say. Yeah.
Great. Just a short question to you again, Shweta. This we got from one of the participants for this webinar by name Raghu Raj. Since I'm asking this to you because you had said how CFA alone is not enough, you have to keep learning other stuff, keep building upon it. So the question he asks is, are there other certifications that are required to enhance the career dimension, or is it just you do on-the-job training, do other learnings on your own, and progress in your career?
I think it could be a mix of both. When I started my career, I already had some bit of coding experience because I was coming from an engineering background, and I was supplementing that with CFA to understand the financial bits. That said, I still had to learn a lot of coding skill set, how to start using Excel, SQL, Python, all these different coding, and how you can implement all of that together. So that was my way of standing out in the vast pool of different people, right? As in, I know something which is both technology as well as finance. But I think over the period, I've realized that you still need to provide signals to other people. And signals is that I ended up doing a post graduation in data science as well later on because I realized, oh, that's an easy way for me to structure. This is again coming from CFA as a curriculum, that it was structured approach. I tried to do the same thing for data science because back in 2017, 2018, I could see people were moving to the field of data science. So I thought, why not do a structured process where I can learn all the basic concepts? So that is when I ended up doing something like that. So I think at different phases of your career, it's a mix of two things, whether you can find time to do that in your own job, you can learn that. But at the same time, if you want to make transitions, things like that, a structured approach like data science masters or CFA, these always become very much important. Maybe if you're getting into risk management, I would say look at FRM as well, because that's like a signal, but that's risk management specifically. So it depends on what kind of field you want to get into. I think you need to choose what kind of signal you want to give. At the same time, you're learning a lot from each one of these different programs that you're doing. So yeah.
Hari,
Got it.
I wanna pull this thread a little bit.
Sure.
CFA is like that magic wand, you know. You have a magic wand like Harry Potter, but you also got to say abracadabra. That's when it works. So just having CFA won't help. In extension to what Shritar shared, you also got to understand that in the world of social media, where you have access to 8 billion people across social media platform, text, video, all right,
Okay.
or audio formats, podcast format, if you do land up becoming a CFA, and if you can express yourself about the market you're interested in, equity market, debt market, macro, crypto, all that, I would say go out and express. Because if you're a CFA, let's say Alok CFA hooks people. Oh, wow, this guy's a CFA. At least I'll give him some credibility to listen to him.
Okay.
And if he's got something to say, he can express on LinkedIn, Substack, TikTok, Insta, and it's free. So, and your content in the beginning will be maybe really not eloquent, okay?
Okay.
But if you put in enough practice, all right, then you really are able to craft your message in a very eloquent format, which also gets you a lot of following or a lot of credibility and your work, okay? Like if you've done it over a period of a year or two, if someone just types your name, Alok CFA, there are like 200 pieces of content available for him online.
Okay. Okay.
Again, it'll give him an edge 99% of the time over everyone else coming for the interview. So,
Got it.
so two parts over here. You could be CFA, FRM, you could academically build credits, or you could be a CFA and express yourself, have the courage to express yourself and build credits. But
Okay. Got it.
just a nuance to,
So you have a Substack, right? You write a
yeah,
lot, right?
I
Okay.
I
So
write. Yeah, I
and that
write on
helps a
Substack.
lot. Uh,
Yeah, see, I'll tell you, there are three benefits of creating content online, and I'm doing it. That's why I'm sharing. First, your
sure.
connections in the industry remain warm. People don't forget you.
Okay.
Purely because they are getting to read something with you. They'll send me a message, they'll like, they'll post, they'll repost, all right? So connections remain warm. If someone wants a 30, 40, 50-year runway in the industry, it's important that your connections remain warm, all right? Otherwise, if you connect with someone 20 years later, there's nothing to talk because we've parted, in life. So first is connections remain warm. Secondly, the credibility remains intact and even grows over a period of time. So when you do land up asking for opportunities, or when you have to share something with them, there's reception because the credibility is there. And third, your opportunities open up big time. Purely because if I'll give you an example, if someone's been going through your expression, all right, your posting or something, and there's an opportunity that comes up in his industry. Let's say Vandana was going through my post for 1 year, and there's an opportunity opens up in her industry. She might say, "Listen, I've read Manish's post for last 1 year. Let me just call Manish. Are you open to an opportunity?"
Okay. Okay.
So relationships remain intact, your credibility keeps rising, opportunities expand, and it's free for you to be able to express online. So which is what I
Got
would
it.
also tell
So
people.
one thing I think as the CFA network is, so I understand you're highlighting the importance of networking. How does the networking within CFAs help actually? Because there are a lot of meetings organized. There are
Yeah, the CFA, does have a global network as well as, local societies that, you can go meet up with like-minded people, right? Increase your network. There are various events that not only help um, you open, help increase your knowledge, right? But it also helps with your networking. There are other things like mentorship, collaborations, and job opportunities as well that are put on these networks. So
okay.
I do think from a networking perspective, not just local societies, even there are events that you can go on in other global societies. So from that perspective, also it does help.
So you're saying it's a global society. So somebody who's finished in India can network with somebody in the US or
And
Europe, try to get job opportunities.
so, for example, if, for example, there is, CFA New York Society, right, and they might be having an event, correct? So, a person from here can go and attend those events, and then probably network further, So from that perspective, yes.
Okay, yeah, that can be a big advantage. Yeah.
Hari, also, if someone does networking, you also get an opportunity to volunteer.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you volunteer, you'll end up building deeper relationship because you're regularly in touch with those guys instead of just
Correct.
going as an
Got it, got
attendee.
it.
So that's
I've
also the great part of this ecosystem.
little bit that I have seen of Wall Street. Networking is how like helps a lot in raising funds, uh, getting your first deal or things like that. So I guess so. This networking can be a big added advantage in CFA.
Hari, I'll tell you, I don't like the word networking, but I'll say relationships.
Okay, got it.
Ultimately, it opens up opportunities for you to build relationships. And if you can build these relationships, your career runway is really long.
Got it. Nice. So the next question. Thanks for this perspectives on this. So next one is to Vandana. So although this is focused on global job opportunities, this webinar, because it's Newberger Berman, all right. I mean, this is one of the largest asset managers globally, one of the most famous alternate asset managers, $500 billion in AUM, which is almost the entire Indian mutual fund industry, right? That equivalent of that is Newberger Berman, just one fund, one company. And so you're setting up their operations in India. So there will be roles in India also. So let us say what kind of roles or opportunities you have in India and what kind of skill sets you would be looking for actually.
So currently, we do have various operations roles, from including fund accounting, right, performance reporting, trade settlements and support, reconciliations, compliance, ESG. We do have other roles around around research and digital marketing as well. So those are some of the roles that we do have currently in India. And how and what was the second part of the question, Hari?
So the skill sets you would be looking for.
I think one of the biggest skill set, right, whenever I talk, other than, the job requirements, is that the person should be smart. They should be able to figure it out, right, on the job. If something is given to you, you're able to figure it out and independently do it. That's one of the biggest, I think, is a soft skill that people look for when they are looking for candidates. So, from that perspective, communication skills and being able to independently do things.
Got it. Fine. Okay. All right. So
I
just
do
one
think,
more.
the basic education in India, more or less everyone does have bachelor's and master's, right? So, however, from that perspective, coming from that perspective, these soft skills also, go a long way.
Got it. Okay. All right. Just one thing. So in the operations part, are CFAs required only for research or even for non-research roles? You will need CFAs and all that in
See,
your.
again, what I think is, CFA does provide you a good foundation of all the investment products, right? And at the end of it, what do you like, right? So even I'm a CFA and, have been in operations in some way or the other, helping with investment decision making, right? So from that perspective, it does depend upon what do you want
Okay.
and where do you see yourself.
All right.
So,
Got it.
but there's, as you said, the opportunities are a lot. What is your calling? Is
All right.
what I'm saying.
So since you touched upon soft skills with Shweta, Manish, I would like your perspectives also. So like CFA plus what are the skill sets? Like if you are recruiting, I'll go with you, Manish, first, and then I'll go to Shweta.
I really believe in the power of communication. You got to also build communication skills.
Okay.
So if you're going to be a CFA, and if you walk and talk like a CFA, all right, it really adds a lot of value. So I'll tell you, when you land up reading books, okay, someone also has a question of which books to read and all. People land up reading books of Warren Buffett. There are thousands of books on Warren Buffett, value investing and all. But you can also read books on communication. Because if you're a CFA, but if you don't land up communicating and landing effectively on people, then sometimes CFA alone is not effective. So I would genuinely say take interest in communicating very, very effectively. I did a course when I was 23 years old that was life-changing. But that communication course made a huge difference to me, and CFA was cherry on the top. But I would say that helps a lot.
Okay, all right. Shweta, your take?
Well, very much agree to this because I think when I moved to venture capital, very few people know about CFA because there are, first of all, there's not much financial data to begin with, right? When you're evaluating startups. So what becomes more important is people who you know, because based on the people who you would know is how you would figure out which startups are fundraising, which founder would be talking to you, and the hottest startups, they will not speak to you because they would already be talking to various VCs, so they don't want to talk to you essentially, right? So having those warm intros help you a lot when you want to get in front of those startups. So I think what I have understood over the period is that technical knowledge is great in the first 4 or 5 years of your career, but after that, it's more about soft skills, knowing the people. So invest in people, I would say, as in invest in people who you know, or if you don't know those people, try to be part of those communities where you can meet those kind of people, be it say CFA Society, or go to those events, maybe the industry specific events where you can meet those people, but try to increase that scope because it's what people always talked about back during COVID was that there was no serendipity which was happening. The coffee chats or things like that, where you get to know about so many other things that you would not know. People are only doing their own jobs. But after COVID, then people realize how much important serendipity is. And the way to maximize serendipity is just by meeting as many people as possible, and probably those people who you think you can learn from. So the first 4 or 5 people who are your friends are obviously the most important people, right? So try to invest your time, go on coffee chats, learn as much as possible from them, share your knowledge with them is one of the, I think, the most important ways for you to progress in your career. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. So thanks. So the next question, I think we are probably one of the greatest inflection points in the world with artificial intelligence. Uh, up, looks like it's going to upend a lot of things, right? It's still not come mainstream in finance. We hear of AI doing the trading and all that, but it hasn't become big. But experiments are going on. AI can do some research work also. AI can do some operations work also, like uh, for the investment banks. Uh, so, I mean, there are two ways the current bunch of people who are going to get into this field, financial field, look at it. One, they're lucky because as the change is happening, they too can evolve and grow with it. The other thing could be there could be dramatic shifts in roles, which I mean you can clarify. Each of you can clarify because before I became a journalist, I was in the buy side research background, and what I'm hearing in that field is AI is going to help you do a lot of research, and so the role I did, let's say 7 8 years back, uh, that role it is still there today, but it's going to be very different 7 years from now. So each of your take on your view, how should people prepare for it if they're doing their CFA now, and what changes you expect in each of your fields, and how much of an advantage it's because see, eventually the common logic goes that it's an advantage because historically any inflection we have had in global economies, railroads, electricity, uh, software, internet, disruption first and then opportunity. So if you look past the disruption of the next 2 years or next 3 years, your take on what's going to happen in each of your fields.
I
I'll
can
start with
start.
Manish. Manish, yeah, please.
See, I've been in sales all my life, all right. And if you look at my industry, wealth management industry, like Vandana's on the supply side, all right, and we are on the sales side. So let's say Vandana will be part of a team that creates the product. We are the people who take the product to people, to investors, all right. So from my perspective, ultimately, all investors respond to greed and fear. It's greed, ambition that makes them chase higher returns, all right, or it's fear that makes them preserve their capital. So the whole pool of wealth management products runs between the spectrum of high returns to low risk, low returns, or high risk, high return. And this greed and fear is not going to go away because of AI. All right. Greed and fear is always going to be a part of the market. Greed and fear is always going to be a part of human psyche. And which is why I, with the help of AI, will be able to cater to that greed and fear more eloquently or more effectively or more quickly. There was a time when we would take a horse, it would take 5 hours for a distance. And then there were, cars which would take 2 hours. Then there were planes which would take an hour. It's exactly like that. AI has compressed the time within which you can take a particular solution to people. Instead of me, having an analyst who's gone through 4 years of studies and then prepare some report for me, AI will do that for me in 2 hours. But I still have to take it to people and talk about it and convince them or make them see the light. So AI will compress your time to provide solutions, but you still have to go and provide solutions to cater to this demand from people that are chasing greed of it. So
All right. Okay.
AI makes you more effective, is what I would say.
All
Yeah,
right.
not to add to that, think AI as a tool that you can use to optimize your time, right? How you can, remove the inefficiencies and what are the things that you can automate so that, whatever time savings you have, that you can invest in more strategic and, initiatives that you can help to grow yourself. Correct,
Okay.
because there are a few things that Manish said. People management is not going to be done by AI, right? Those leadership skills, people management, communications, right? Those people interactions. That is not what AI can take away from you. So those are your biggest things. However, I would say there are a lot of things. Use AI to your advantage. I know within our industry, lengthy documents can be summarized within seconds through AI, right? Trainings and SOPs, procedures can done through AI now, right? You don't need to put that time in. So there are a lot of time savings. However, use that opportunity to upskill yourself, so that when there's an opportunity, so that you can grow more or less, right? That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
One thing I wanted to ask you, Vandana, is buy side research, sell side research. Uh, do you think predominantly the work will it will be done by a human with the help of AI to optimize is what you're saying? Like,
Yes,
okay.
correct. You would still need that human touch
Uh,
because, AI, at least now, is not perfect. So it would need that human touch. And I think that the intelligence part makes it even better. The human intelligence part, when you add it to that I think that makes it even better. So, yeah.
all right. Shweta, in your industry?
Well, I've kind of seen my own job evolving over the period. There was this time when I was writing so many lines of codes. It used to take a lot of time, 2 days, 3 days to build a project. Now, when I look at it, probably takes me just 15, 20 minutes to maybe work on it just because I know what I really want from AI and I can get those codes. So I think in software development, it has surely changed things a lot. So the way I would think about this evolving landscape is that you need to start developing this so-called AI literacy rather than just thinking about the technical skills. What this essentially means is that you need to know how to utilize these AI tools in your own jobs or in your own roles. And understanding the financial context is where you can provide. So the way these AI tools work is you need to provide it context. And if it doesn't have the context, it will probably not do a great job. So you need to learn that aspect as in how do I make this AI tool work very well for my own job? That will surely be very much helpful. Focusing on skill set that AI can augment rather than compete with, I think is where you should probably focus on, as in say relationship building, which Vandana Manish they have been talking about, right? Domain expertise is something, as in if you have a very good domain expertise in any sector, no one will question you. They will probably prefer talking to you rather than looking at AI. So things like that, learning AI tools in your own personal life, as in I use AI tools maybe to get all these new cooking recipes as well. So I'm learning how to use AI tools in different ways to save myself time rather than going to the YouTube videos, maybe, right? So it's about understanding how you can use that in your own personal life as well. And at the same time, understanding the limitations of AI. It's more like an intern right now. So you need to think of it as an intern, and interns can do mistakes. So you always have to understand those limitations, always verify whatever is happening with this. So it's about combining all of these things together. But as you know, AI will be there. It's going to be there over the next 4 or 5 years, whether you like it or not. So it's more about how you can apply that in your own personal and professional life so that you are relevant in that kind of segment. And then you augment that with your own skill set.
So you have built some AI tools and quantitative models, right? So on your own, you've done it basically. Okay.
Yeah.
So this AI tool was for investing or
Yeah. As
okay.
in, so the point was, in my starting of my career, we were talking more about machine learning tools because the day it was all numbers. I think what happened around 2017, 2018 is that we started having these large language models coming into the picture that could analyze text. What that essentially meant was that now we can go through the annual reports of the companies, we can go through the earnings transcript of the company, you can start finding the sentiment, and with vision models, when you are looking at the interviews, you can probably look at how the CEO is blinking, and you can find out what emotion that they're trying to showcase in their investor day, right? So all of these things, it was very much, we started doing that back in 2017, 2018. And now I think in 2021 and 2022, it became, yeah, with ChatGPT and all these tools coming in, it became common for anyone to use those tools. Earlier, it was in the back end. People were using those tools, but there was no front end. So if you didn't know how to interact with these AI tools, you were not able to do that. So that is what has changed for us, I think, as a whole in the career.
Okay, so this skills were basically self-learned to some extent. This,
Yeah,
did your
yeah.
science background help you a bit on this? So,
It does. You need to just understand it can make those factual errors.
uh,
So to make it work is if I want to learn about science, say eighth grade science subject, I would probably give the context. I will probably upload that document as in this is my book. I want everything to be relevant to this book only, nothing else. You can probably give me more context, but if you have to make it more factual, and the way to make it factual is providing it the context, providing it the relevance. There are some technical ways to how to work with AI tools, which I don't want to go into. But the idea is that you need to make sure the AI, you need to understand the limitations of these AI tools, but at the same time, provide it the context all the time so that it can know what it can provide to you as a response.
got it. Thanks. So I've actually got a reader question. I'll have to twist it a bit because the actual question is, what are the job opportunities if I complete level one, level two, and level three? Uh, so I would rather say I twist it to a little bit because I think anyone who starts the journey should complete it. Uh, because that's when you reap the full benefits. Although, yes, people I know people who've done one or two levels and they've told me it helps. There are people from science background and it has helped them get a recognition. At least their resume is seen in a company. But ultimately, though, you have to complete it because uh, uh, with each level you learn more, you get some insights on finance, but only when you complete it you reap the full advantage. So this I would like to ask you, Manish, because you said you did it at 40, required a lot of should have required, must have been challenging. So people who are not completed it, your advice for them, how can they go ahead and complete it? There could be challenges like either personal, family time, and job timings may not allow you to
Your
prepare every
your
time.
job timing will never allow you.
uh,
I doubt anyone has a job where their job time is allowed. So I would finish work. I would go to I was learning from Kaplan classes,
okay,
Kaplan Training Academy. So I would go to their office. I had taken permission to study in their office every evening. So I'd finish
okay,
work, go to their office, study there, and then go home at 9 o'clock. Even on weekends, I would go there for 3, 4 hours and study because it was a environment in which I would be able to study instead of home.
Okay.
At home, the television's calling me, come to me, parents are there, family there. So I love studying in the office and I took permission for it. So it worked out effectively. But I do want you to know that the only way I could clear it is because for me, mentally, it was my future dependent on me clearing. There was no
Okay.
option in my mind not to clear it. So there was no option in my mind to drop out because I was also doing it at 40. You must understand, I had students who were 19, 20-year-olds. And I was already feeling I'm doing it very late. So my future, my corporate career, my banking career, everything depended on it. And I had to clear. So I studied with no option but to clear. And there are many times we do it this way. I remember studying for 10th or my board exams, exactly like that. I have to clear. So it's just sometimes what happens when we have a job, we start thinking, oh, it's okay if I don't clear. No, it's not okay. As a parent, I have to bring food to my family. There's no option, but I have to bring food to my family. That's what our parents did for us. So if I want to give a great life to my family, I have to make sure that I do it, and there's no option not to do it or skip out. Is how I cleared.
Okay, so during those, so it was like long hours, is it like 10, 12 hours a day, including
Yeah, there
studying?
was no social life, as Vandana said earlier. There was no
Okay,
social life. Weekend 6, 7 hours of going there. So weekend maybe I had some time to go out with friends and play snooker, but weekdays were gone. There was office and there was classes in the evening. And many a time before office, I would read 1 hour about what I learned in the classes last night because in the night I was zoning out. So I would go through it again as a refresher.
okay,
Your 2, 3 years just you zone out, honestly, from a lot of social or personal uh, activities, which
all
was
right,
worth it,
fine.
which was
Okay,
absolutely worth it.
all right, fine. Any your experience, Shweta, Vandana? Else Vandana can say first, then Shweta.
Yeah, I mean, you do need to put in that effort. For some reason, you have to hustle it out. You need to have that mindset that, okay, I do need to finish it. So I remember there would be personal challenges always. For me, I still remember, I was, you know, I used my maternity leave, right? Even to prepare for my level three, I passed it. I was so happy because for me, there was no option to give level three again, right? Because next year I would have a kid running around, and this would not be possible with that. So, when it is high stakes, right? You put in your 100, 150% and then get through. And, you need to have that vision that you do need to complete it. You need to complete your level three, you need to complete your charter holder because I really feel when you are at level three, you have put in so much effort already, right?
Okay,
It's just like, let's finish with it and, let's get on with our lives so that, we can go back to socializing or, so for me, it was mostly half of the summers was gone in US, right? Just studying. The exams were normally around that Memorial Weekend time, right?
okay,
So friends were going out, right? You do need to ignore that. You do need to put in that effort, right? So those 3, 4 years, I did miss on those, but now, now you have the time. When you look back, I really think that, that trip probably on a weekend trip is, not that worth. However, having that charter holder, is lifetime. So you do need to get into that mindset that, you need to adopt a lifelong learning, right? The learning
okay.
doesn't stop. Manish did it on 40. Like the learning does not stop. You do need to upskill yourself. You do need to put in that effort. So yeah, just get finished with it. I would just say if you're already done with level two, put in that
Mhm.
effort and then get done with it. So,
Great. I think that's a good advice everyone needs to follow. Shweta, your experience?
Yeah, as in with CFA or any other such certification degrees, I think what it tells you is more about the kind of discipline and continuous learning that you would have. It's going to take you a long way. You will, and Manish is a great example, right? As in, you should not think that you should stop studying after the age of 25 or 30. You need to start, keep on learning. Always have this continuous learning approach, be it 40, 50 years, because the world will always evolve. And
yeah.
if you want to be relevant to the world, you need to evolve with that as well. And the only way to do that is having that continuous learning approach. So, and to do that, it teaches you also how to have that kind of discipline, perseverance, the commitment of putting on like 300 plus hours to complete CFA is quite a lot, right? Throughout the multiple years, it doesn't get completed with just one level. So level one, that's great. Level two, it teaches you, okay, I have spent 300 plus hours two times. Level three, it teaches you that, oh, I can do that over 2, 3 years. So it kind of tells you the kind of the kind of person you are, that you can always have that discipline, that professional dedication to do something. And maybe one thing, another point to add is having a global perspective as well. One thing with CFA I have seen is it continuously updates the curriculum. So you always get that kind of global perspective in terms of what's happening across the world, not just in India or in Europe. It's teaching you about, oh, this is what is happening in the US. That's how I think CFA started putting in the sustainable finance related concepts as well, right? Same thing they did with statistics because they knew there is a technical need to do that. So I think that is very much important. That teaches you so many things in your life. So yeah.
So we are towards the end of the session, but I'll just try to push through two more questions. Maybe we'll extend it by another 5 or 10 minutes max. So this question to you, Shweta, was we already touched upon it at the start of the webinar, which is science background to CFA. All right, there are lots of questions on that, which is why I'm getting back to it again. You were saying how the curriculum helped you and you could cope with it. What some want to know is the curriculum alone sufficient, or you need to go to more online tools to uh, learn more things and uh, to complete the course from a science when you're shifting from a science back.
Is it more about completing CFA
Yeah,
or applying that in your practical role? So
both you can answer both actually.
well, the first thing is, I think the CFA books themselves are very much detailed. They go through so many examples,
Mm.
and then comes all these different, I think, books like Treasure and all. There are those which augment and probably give the same information in a short document. So I think the point is you can apply, you can use both of those, and that is good enough. And there are a couple of, I think, uh, different forums for CFA related discussions with that you can always go through. But I think the point is it's more about if you can build a community around you, if you know 2 or 3 people who are doing CFA, maybe have that kind of small community and you can discuss those questions between the two of you or among 3, 4, 5 people. I think that's good enough for you to complete the CFA charter as a whole. Now, what I think what becomes slightly complicated over the period is you can do that with level one or level two. But I think with level three, you need to probably get more context about what you're actually studying. So if you're not working in the field of finance, it becomes slightly complicated to, I think, do two level three. At least that's what my thought is. So it would be relevant for you to probably work in a financial industry towards the later stage of your level three and all, because you start making sense of what is actually the curriculum is all about. So yeah, I think that's how I would look at it. But I think all of this boils to the fact that how you can apply this in your practical setting in the job. This is something that CFA will not teach you. CFA will only teach you about the practical concepts. What
Okay.
is more important is talking to your seniors, talking to people who have been in that role. More you learn about that specific skill set, I think that's when I think you start uh, doing better in your job, right? For me, in the start of my career, it was more about coding. It was more about building presentations and showing it to the clients with a lot of numbers. How do you make sense of those numbers? Which is like putting in just 1 or 2 lines what all these different numbers mean to them. So it's distilling information, being able to analyze all of this in a different way. I think that needs to be there along with CFA. You can't just think CFA will do all the work for you.
Got it. So just the other last question I had is this I can Vandana and Manish can answer. Uh, Whether they also needed and whether they also whether I mean, so the question is someone is asking uh, students need mentors, right? So if you're a CFA student and you're lost, how to progress and all that. uh, like is that community CFA community enough, or they should reach out to people like you in the business, in the industry, to get some clarity? So any thoughts how much mentorship is important, and if a student wants to have a mentor, how they can go about approaching people in the industry when they've not yet completed the course? I understand once you've completed, there is a CFA mentoring network, etc. At a student level, I mean, do you have any suggestions? Both of you can.
Vandana, you want to go first?
Sure. So, I mean, local society, the CFA local societies, even candidates can go and,
Okay.
look for mentorship. You would find their, charter holders have already completed, as well as, people who are, working alongside you, probably in the same boat. So I think having colleagues, in the same boat helps you answer questions. However, from a mentorship perspective, the charter holders, I think, would be much more helpful to provide you the direction. If you are looking, feel free. I can help. That's not a problem.
Great.
So, but yes, mentorship I do feel does go. I feel all along my career that my mentors have helped me a lot growing. So yeah.
So, in case somebody wants to reach out to you for mentorship, should they reach out to you on LinkedIn, or how would you?
Yes, sure.
Okay, all right. So,
Okay.
any participant,
Yeah, okay, you finish, then I'll share my
any
perspective.
participant, you can search for Vandana's name, Newberger Berman. You will find it on top on Google search, and you can connect with her on LinkedIn if you need her to be your mentor. Go ahead, Manish, please.
Okay, I have a contrary view on it. I don't think mentors are needed. And see, mentor is someone who hands-hold you, guides you, gives you wisdom, and takes you under his wings. You
Okay.
cannot find a mentor. A mentor will choose you when you're ready.
Okay.
But you have to become someone who's hustling hard and learning from whoever you can learn from. So yes, Vandana said one amazing thing: surround yourself with people who have a like-minded interest, like-minded goal, and pursuing CFA. Your main job should be being amongst people who are pursuing CFA. So if they're studying in a particular library, study in that library. If they're doing a particular classes that you could afford, do the classes. All right. Find people in your city who are pursuing CFA and ask them, can we study together? You don't need to find a mentor. Mentor will find you when you're ready. All right. Because mentor has to take a decision to put his time on you.
Okay.
So if you surround yourself with people who are chasing this and they are like-minded people, chances are very high you'll end up learning from someone or the other. Sometimes you'll teach someone something, sometimes you'll learn from someone. Just keep moving an inch every single day. Finishing a chapter, finishing a mock exam, going through material. It's just one baby step after another. And you'll be amazed at how much you could land up accomplishing if you were just dogged enough to move every day, to put that 1 to 2 hours every day. A mentor will find you. That's what I feel.
Your point is anybody can be a mentor at that moment, that day, kind of. You meet somebody like
Anybody
us
can be
at that minute to give you an
at,
insight at that minute.
not mentor. I won't use the word mentor easily.
Mentor, okay.
Anybody could be someone who could guide you
Guide you. Got
for
it.
that day.
Okay.
Maybe the next day you might guide someone, but it's 5-6 people together. Forget 5-6 people, even 2-3 people together could in this journey of CFA guide each other to succeed.
Okay. I would call it democratized mentorship. Like everything today, we are in democratization of finance, democratization of knowledge. So in a way, yes, it's like insights from anybody you meet in the day. So, but just one
Find
counter I have
like-minded
to,
people. Yeah.
one counter I have, Manish, is if somebody is lost, clueless, uh, what do you say they do actually? Like people start, they're like they need some help at some point in time. Uh, like one.
I'll give you an example. All right. CFA has 12 books. Okay. Each subject has a mock exam. All right. And then each book has a mock exam. And then once you finish all the books, then there are 6 to 10 mock exams.
Okay.
Even if you're lost, let's say, even if you're lost today, all right, two things you could do. One, even if you're lost, all right, keep moving with that one chapter, one mock exam, keep moving till you find someone you could talk to. Maybe you can connect with Vandana. Vandana, I'll guide you. Maybe you'll be lost again tomorrow.
Okay.
But you have this whole set curriculum. You have enough and more stuff to go through. Keep moving. Okay. And if you have someone to talk to, if you are with 2-3 people together, okay, chances are less you'll remain lost
Okay.
for a long time. You
So you're
just
saying
got
keep
to,
progressing.
keep moving one step every single day is what I would say.
Got it. So it's been great. I mean, I've enjoyed moderating the session, learning from all of you, and I'm sure participants have gained a lot of insights. To the participants, I'd like to say that a lot of other questions you've asked, which have to be like only the CFA Institute can answer. So I've not brought it up here. We'll try to probably sometime interview the CFA Institute representative in India sometime and get your other questions answered in our publication. Uh, but this has been a great session. So much of learning for me. So I'm sure youngsters would have learned. It would have been even more. I mean, it's amazing if somebody is learning it at a younger age than at our age today. So
Yeah, I'm jealous of them big time.
yeah, seriously, they have the best insights when you're younger. So it's been great. Thank you, Shweta, Vandana, Manish. My pleasure moderating this. So when I started this, I started with Benjamin Franklin's quote of investing in knowledge reaps the best reward. I'm concluding with Manish's quote, invest in communication for optimizing that reward, actually. So it's been uh, it's been great. Thanks for the insights.
Thanks for the opportunity, Hari. Really, really appreciate it.
Bye.
It
Thank
was
you
a
so much,
pleasure.
guys. Yeah, it was a pleasure.
Bye. See you.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Thank you
Bye.
all. Bye bye.